the cloud. So anyway, as I said, Chip McGill, again, we're going to really use this as a tool for you guys to present to prospects. And we're not going to talk about any specific company tonight. We have people from all across the industry. We've got people from all across the world, actually, on board here right now, I believe. And so what we're going to do is really just talk about general concepts. And this concept is about working from home, creating an additional income stream from home. The gig economy, we always talk about that these days, or you always hear about that these days. And I had to Google it. I didn't know what the gig economy was, right? The gig economy, I thought the gig economy meant it's big. It's like gigawatt, whatever, but no, it's the gig. I've got a side gig, right? Like I'm a realtor, and my side gig, my side hustle, as we used to say in Baltimore, my side hustle became my main hustle. Okay. I was able at home, because I got better and better over years, to make more money than most realtors ever make. And I don't know if that can relate to you and your own personal. I see a lot of people on here, and I know a few of you, and I know what you've been able to create in income from home, and it's impressive, right? And it's overwhelming sometimes. You might have worked for years in a career, might have education in this particular area, but you out-earn that with your side hustle, and that's incredible. But one of the things that we're leaving on the table is the ability to really make money even at a lower income range. When you're making $100,000 a year from home, that's great extra money, especially if it's a side gig. You're making $250, $500 after a while, that's unbelievable, right? And you might not even care that you're not maximizing your deductions, your legal tax deductions. But as an accountant told me years ago, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep, right? So that really kind of always stuck in the back of my mind. And I knew the one thing is I could write off my cell phone bill, or I could write off maybe a computer purchase, maybe even a TV purchase, right? I have some people over, have a private business reception in my home. I get to write off my TV, okay? And just stuff like that. But it goes far, far beyond that. So about 2 years ago, I met this incredible person that we're highlighting here tonight, Mrs. Courtney Epps. Courtney Epps is an award-winning, I don't know what kind of awards. She's an author, an award-winning author. She's written some incredible books. She's a speaker in very, very high demand. She speaks all over the country, at least. I've seen her speak numerous times in front of tens upon thousands of people. And her tax strategies are absolutely phenomenal. And one of the things that you'll really enjoy about her is her down-to-earth attitude and personality. But one of the things is that from me, is the concept that she really embraces the home-based business market. In this era right now that we're working in, I can't believe, to me, and Courtney, I'll ask you about this, but I can't believe that all of these people around the world are waiting for this $1,200 stimulus check. And it's great. I can't get one. I made too much money. I've made more money than I would get out of the stimulus ever since I was 21 years old. And I'm not saying that to brag, because there's people on this Zoom right now that out-earn me easily. But it's just a matter of a thing. I don't think you want a six-figure income, a six-figure household income. I think you need a six-figure household income in this world. And, besides love, oxygen, the next thing is a six-figure income, health, love, and oxygen. And health is more important than anything else these days. But Courtney, I'm going to unmute you here. I think I'm going to unmute you and introduce you. Let's see. Can you unmute? I think we muted each other out. Hold on. There you are. Courtney, you're there?
Yes.
Great. Fantastic. So everyone, this is Courtney Epps, my friend, soon to be your friend, a lot of people's friends. And I've recently not recently, over the last 2 years really, but really started really admiring all of her work and what she says over the last year or so. I met her at the GoPro network marketing opportunities with Eric Worre. That's a common friend of ours, and you've known Eric for a long time. I've known Eric for a long time. So some of your strategies were just absolutely mind blowing to me, because, way over me, and I can't take advantage of them. Sometimes you're going to talk about kids and stuff like that. I'm thinking, wow, I should have had some kids to get some extra write-offs. But I missed out on that one. Right. So, but Courtney Epps, folks, everybody here. And Courtney, I was going to have your book as part of my introduction. She's going to show it off there. Folks, this is a great book. I've got like 5 copies of them around here somewhere, and they're just buried around. Melissa probably has them in her down in her office down there, or something like that, hidden away, because I know she's actually read it. And so, Courtney, go ahead, take it over. What do you think? What are some of the thoughts you want before you get into your particular presentation?
Hey guys, I hope everybody's doing great tonight. It has been a crazy day, and I just remembered about 15 minutes ago that I was supposed to be on this Zoom tonight. I was doing payroll, and so I had to go put some makeup on, and so I look a little better than I did a few minutes ago. So it's been a crazy whirlwind, probably the last 3 weeks. I'm sure it has for you guys. And just a little bit about me, kind of give you some background. I've been an accountant for 19 years. And so you can probably already tell I'm not your typical accountant. I love to talk to people. And, that doesn't typically work well with accountants, and they don't like to tell you things. Like, they want to feel like the smartest people in the room. And so, what I am first and foremost is an entrepreneur, and I tried for the longest time not to be an accountant. And I would do taxes January through April for about 16 years. And I would do everything but. I've tried retail stores. I owned an insurance agency and an accounting firm for about 3.5 years, had about 3,500 clients. I sold that 10 years ago at the age of 29. The guy I sold it to, after 4 months, stopped paying me. I lost everything I owned. Was $250,000 in debt, could not afford to file bankruptcy, and then kick-started it back into the network marketing industry. So that's why I'm here. I fell in love with what you guys are doing. If you are in network marketing, home-based business, I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the fact that you could help people not only free up money, which is where I was always seeing myself as an accountant, but I could also help people make extra money. So I am not in any way, shape, form, or fashion involved in any network marketing company. Have not been for the last 3 years now. I really found a passion 3 years ago that I had a superpower. And so, for the longest time I fought it and did not want to do this. I wanted to do something fun. But I realized that I could help so many people by taking what I'd learned, what I failed at, and end up helping people understand that they don't have to fail, that teaching people, I guess I call it the road less stupid in business. And then on top of that, I could free up money for people to not only start their own home-based business, but to get involved in personal growth and development. And for me, that completely changed my life. Through network marketing, I found Tony Robbins, and my business has literally gone from $9,000 a year 6 years ago at doing accounting to we're doing over $250,000 a month now. So things have kind of changed. And so we are, we've done $1 million in the last 6 months, which is super crazy, seeing as how we have not spent a single dollar in marketing or advertising. It has literally been growing through word of mouth and through the network marketing industry. So for those of you out there who, don't think it works, network marketing works. I mean, I am living proof that I'm on the outside, and I literally got the help and support from the network marketing industry to grow my accounting practice. So that being said, to give you a little bit of hope today, for those of you, and I know most of you on this call are very optimistic, I think that everything that's happening right now is the greatest thing that could be happening. I know there's some crazy stuff and the sicknesses that's going on right now, but honestly, guys, I think it's a big eye-opener for people to see that working for someone else, being a W-2 employee, is not necessarily the way to get ahead. And what I preach is constantly is why you would be brain dead not to own a business. So that's the title of my book, Why You'd Be Brain Dead Not to Own a Business. And one of the biggest reasons why is because there are two tax systems in our country. There is one that was created to steal your wealth away, and that was literally the W-2 employee system. And then there's a second tax system that is created for business owners. And as a business owner, we get massive tax deductions. And the reason why is because we create economy. We stimulate the economy. We are spending money constantly, and then we hire employees, and someone has to pay the taxes, so it trickles down to the employees. And when you understand that, it becomes the best thing for you to go out and start your own business. So I'm not telling you to quit your day job. I'm not saying that I'm not knocking W-2 employees. What I'm saying is, W-2 employees, you will pay more in money, more in taxes than I will as a business owner. And I can make 2, 3, or 4 times the amount of money that you would make as a W-2 employee, and I'm still going to pay less in taxes typically. So with that being said, Chip, I can keep talking. You can ask me questions, but if you don't ask me, I'm just going to keep right on rolling with the punches, right?
Yeah, I think you should just roll, and I
Okay.
guess I need to give you host control so you can share your screen. You're going to do your presentation?
I think honestly, yes, I can definitely do my presentation. I think that will be very beneficial for you guys and help you understand, kind of what I do. I think the more you can visualize and see exactly how this whole thing works, it'll make a lot more sense to you. So. Yeah. I can share. It says host disabled participants. So while you are allowing me to do that, I'm going to talk some more. So what got me excited and why I decided to actually start sharing with the network marketing industry, home-based business industry, why it was such a big deal was I heard some statistics by Grant Cardone. I was actually on my way to Tampa, Florida, and I heard some statistics, and here's how they go. And I had to look them up because I didn't believe it. So the average household income in America is $60,000 a year. And from that household will pay $14,000 in taxes. So that means the take home is $46,000. Well, the problem with that is that the cost of living on average in America is $53,000 a year. So what I want you to understand is the average household is going in debt $7,000 a year to work 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year to take 2 weeks paid vacation. And that was before the pandemic. So the system was broken. And I'm here today to show you how it all works, how, what you can benefit from by sharing this information with your friends and family. And, I'm going to go through, here's my family. I have 6 children. They are ages 17 to 7 currently. We homeschool all of them. Nothing has really changed in my world. I feel like I was quarantined January through April anyway. So, as long as hopefully by April 15th, I'll be able to get out of the office and out of the house some. But this is my family. So I am a speaker. I'm an author. This is my husband, Brandon. I love to tell people what I do for a living is I'm a motivational tax strategist. So I will use everything I've learned from Tony Robbins by being a platinum partner, everything I've learned by being a friend of Les Brown's, and I use my tax strategy to help you free up money and then give you the bright side of everything. So I currently live in Greenville, South Carolina. I have a accounting firm here. We have 17 employees now, and we have clients all over the entire country. And the number one thing I love to do is talk. So you can probably guess that so far. So I've already told you my aha moment was when I heard those statistics, but going back about 6 years ago, when I actually got into network marketing for the first time, I fell in love with the fact that I did a tax return for someone, and I ended up saving her $4,100 more than she'd ever gotten back on her taxes before by being a business owner. Now, she was not profitable. She had gotten into a network marketing company. She was not good at sales at all. And so she'd not made a lot of money. But because she now had a business, she was able to redirect their living expenses, turn those into business expenses. And going from a W-2 employee the year before to the current year, I was able to save her $4,100 on money she'd already was spending. So it wasn't like she was spending extra money. So that being said, my job tonight is to show you how to help others and yourself free up $4,000 to $8,000 a year in taxes by having a home-based business. The 2 tax systems I've already talked to you about, that is so crucial, especially now. And you know why you'd be brain dead not knowing a business. So I've already talked to you about that and explained that. And so what I do is I work alongside speakers, coaches, trainers, network marketers, and I free up money so that people can find a way to get in business, so that people can find a way to stay in business long enough to win, and to help you keep more of your hard-earned money as you continue to make it. So our clients range from everyday, you know, just got started in network marketing, to our largest client is $120 million a year. So we have a wide arrangement of, we have about 50% of our clients are network marketers. The rest are brick and mortar locations. We have real estate agents, chiropractors, plastic surgeons, construction workers, you name it, we've got it. So why I feel like the network marketing industry, the home-based business industry is for everyone are these statistics. And this was before the pandemic. I want you to understand, 46% of Americans didn't have an extra $400 to their name. That's why the world is turned upside down right now. 69% of Americans don't have an extra $1,000 to their name. So what does that mean? That means that if you are not sharing with your friends and family what you're doing, then you could potentially be hurting them more than you could be helping them. And see, why I believe it's for everyone is because the guarantee is tax savings, okay? But along the way, you could be potentially helping someone change their life dramatically, helping them walk away from their W-2 income. Or, you know, better yet, if someone has, you know, lost their job right now, that stimulus money could get them involved for a couple $100, get them involved in a company, and they could completely and utterly change their life and not ever go back to work. And then they could spend time with their family and have their own home-based business. So I believe it is for everyone. So I want to break this down for you, what that household income that I just talked about from Grant Cardone. I went and pulled tax code. I looked it all up. So I wanted to put it on paper for you. And I wanted to make it super simple. And even going back, I didn't want you to even think that for 1 second I was over exaggerating. So I actually condensed the loss for you as a W-2 employee. But it makes total sense that the national debt in America is $70,000 per household. So it would make sense that you are literally losing money by going to work every day. So here's what happens. The income is $60,000. You're paying, you've got access to the standard deduction or the itemized deduction. That gets you to a taxable income. Then you pay taxes. So you have FICA taxes, you have federal and state taxes. For most of you have state taxes. And then what's left over is the take home. Well, I listed single and married, and then here's the cost of living. So I dropped the amount for single to $50,000 to just make it make more sense to you. So here's what's left over. Nothing. You're going in debt. So that is typical. That is the average W-2 employee. And one of the things, if I would have actually known this right here, if I had put the numbers together, I would have realized why people don't get started. I honestly would have realized why, if I sat down and told someone what I was doing in network marketing and they didn't have the money to get started, why they would have attacked me. Because in your brain, you can't say, oh, well, I don't have the money to get started. You have to come up with a reason why, you know, it's not right for you to make it make sense to you. It's like a Corvette. So if, you know, if I want to buy a Corvette and I can't afford to buy a Corvette, then I would just talk myself out of it and say, you know, it's not practical. I shouldn't buy a Corvette, blah, blah, blah. So that's exactly what people do every single day. And when you comprehend that, you can help change their mind if you just say, hey, I can help you for the money to get started if that is an issue at all. And now I think time is definitely not an issue anymore because everybody has tons of time. Otherwise, we're watching Joe Exotic on, has anybody seen Joe Exotic? I mean, that's the funniest thing. Tiger King is crazy. So anyway, next step, here's what happens. when you become a W-2 employee, I'm not saying quit your job. I'm saying become a W-2 employee and add a home-based business. What happens is some really amazing stuff. So you get access to tax deductions that you didn't have before. So I have a lot of people say, well, you know, I don't make enough to itemize, or I don't have enough deductions to itemize. Itemized deductions have nothing to do with business expenses. Business expenses are dollar for dollar against any income that you have. So itemized deductions go into effect when you go above the standard deduction in this country. So 96% of Americans don't get any benefit from that. So please understand, one has nothing to do with the other. Business expenses are a big, big deal. So how do you get a business expense? How does something become tax deductible? The IRS states that any expense that's incurred for the purpose of gaining or producing income that is incurred with a reasonable expectation of resulting in future business and is reasonable under the circumstances becomes a tax deduction. Well, here's the great part about being a home-based business owner. You're able to actually redirect your living expenses and turn those into business expenses by doing something called daily business building activities. And what that means is you're just attempting to earn an income. And what does that look like? Especially in the home-based business world, it's just telling people about what you're doing, opening your mouth and sharing with people. See, it's very hard for me to not talk about tax deductions. I will literally be talking to you about Tony Robbins and tell you how amazing he is. And I'm like, yep, it saved me $28,000 last year to be a platinum partner with Tony Robbins. Although I spent $85,000 with Tony and I spent $40,000 in travel, it still saved me, you know, $28,000 in taxes that I didn't have to pay. And that's exciting for me. So, you know, you find something that you're passionate about. I don't care what it is. Just open your mouth and tell people what you're doing. And by attempting to earn an income, you now have access to tax deductions. So here's what it looks like. As a W-2 employee, we have living expenses and we have itemized deductions. So itemized deductions look like this: medical bills, medical insurance, property taxes, real estate taxes, mortgage interest, and charitable contributions. The problem with these things is that they are capped. Medical bills and medical insurance, you can't take, you have to actually go above 7.5% of your AGI in order to even get a benefit. What is the AGI? That is an adjusted gross income. It's a line item on your tax return and it says how much your gross income is. So you have to have more medical expenses than 7.5% of your adjusted gross income before you get $1 in a deduction. So most people aren't getting benefit. On top of that, you've got property taxes and real estate taxes, and income taxes are now capped at $10,000. So I had a client today where I was doing their tax return. They had $42,000 in property taxes. They can only take $10,000, but we can actually take more on business use of your home. And I'll talk about that in just a second. Then we have mortgage interest and charitable contributions. So if all of those combined are more than $24,000 if you're married, $18,000 if you are head of household, or $12,000 if you're single, you can take the itemized deduction. But if they're not, then you just get the itemized deduction. So most people are not getting benefit. Living expenses. If you're just a W-2 employee, you get no benefit off of any of these expenses. So meals, auto expenses, cell phone, travel, internet, home office supplies, daycare, products. And you may say, well, you know, I get dependent daycare credit. You know, just last week, I did a tax return for someone. They spent $26,000 in daycare and they got a $1,500 tax credit. That doesn't even make sense to me. That's absurd. So here's what happens. Now, that was yesterday. So let's say yesterday you were a W-2 employee. Today, Chip picks up the phone and he calls you and you decide to join him and be in the network marketing industry. Okay? Now you're a home-based business owner, or anybody for that matter. I don't care who it is and I don't care what product it is. Now you're in a home-based business. So business expenses, they look identical, but now they're tax deductible. So medical bills, you can actually set up something called an HRA, and we can help you set that up through a company that we work with. They set up programs called HRAs. And so you would hire your spouse, your spouse could pay 100% of the medical bills. You would in turn reimburse him for all of those bills, and that will become a business deduction as a fringe benefit. 100% tax deductible. Huge, huge deal. And guys, these are not maximums. They're not minimums. They're just kind of on average of what I see as far as clients go. So medical insurance. Medical insurance is 100% tax deductible if you're a self-employed. Huge deal, you know, that you can write off. Property taxes, that would be like, let's just say we bought an RV and we took that RV and went across country and we shared with people what we're doing, or we went to see our team, or, you know, all of these things that you're doing. Or it could be for vehicle property taxes. So anything that you would spend as far as taxes go, that's business related, that can be a write-off. And if you don't spend 100% of the vehicle or the RV for business purposes, you can take a percentage of it. Business use of your home. This is probably one of the greatest deductions that most people don't take. They think that it's going to cause them to trigger an audit, that the IRS is going to audit them to take this deduction, and that's just not true. So in 19 years, I've been an accountant for 19 years. I've done taxes every single year. We probably do 1,700 tax returns a year, and I've never had a client audited ever in 19 years. I would say 75% of our clients either take home office, administrative office, or they take business use of their home. So what I want you to understand is that if that were to trigger an audit, I would have had clients who were actually audited for that reason. We've only ever had one client audited, and that was a hairdresser. And she had, you know, she paid rent and we won the audit. So, you know, no big deal. But I want you to understand, you can write off a portion of your utilities, your mortgage interest, your property taxes. You can also write off repairs and maintenance. So if you have your house redone, if you are using your home, and let's just say you decide, okay, I want to upfit my office and I want to make it look better, like my office that my husband just redid for me. This is actually in my office, like my office building, but I have another office in my home, and he's decorated that for me. So those can be 100% tax deductible. So, you know, huge deduction for you, as well as charitable contributions. And I'll talk about that in a little more detail, only because I'm so passionate about it. And I'll share with you how you can actually take charitable contributions and that be 100% deductible for you, instead of maybe getting a benefit for it. Now, here's the thing. So I pick up the phone, and let's just say I got started, and you know, I had a home-based business. I had my accounting practice. We ran that through our home up until September of this year. And I ran that with 13 employees out of our house and 6 children we were homeschooling. It was crazy. But here's the thing. If I picked up the phone and called Chip and said, Chip, I want to talk to you about what I'm doing, even if I'm an accountant, and we go to lunch. So I get in my car and I drive to Chip. That's 58 cents a mile that I can write off. When I get to Chip and I talk to him about what I'm doing, I get around 50% of my meal. And right now, Congress is trying to pass 100% for meals to try to get restaurants back up and going. So that's a huge deal. So I'm talking to him about my business, telling him what I'm doing. And, you know, Chip may say, you know what, Courtney, I love it. I want to be your client. Or he may say, you know what, Courtney, I think that everything you're saying is crazy, and I think you're going straight to jail or hell. And then I'm going to look at Chip and say, man, you just don't get it. You just don't get it. All I'm trying to do is help you help yourself. So I'm trying to share with you a way that you could possibly not only make an extra stream of income, get products or services for lesser of a price than retail, right? And then on top of that, while along the way, you're going to save massive amounts of money in taxes. See, I used to pick up the phone and call my client, my team when I was in network marketing, and I would say, look, you can either spend $100 on you this month, or you can spend $400 in taxes. Which one would you rather do? Because the minute you decide you don't want to be in business anymore, your auto ship, what you're paying, you know, the money that you're spending on yourself to grow your business and to buy the products and services that you need anyway, that is $100 that you can write off on your taxes. And along the way, you're writing off your cell phone and your meals and your mileage and all this other stuff. Well, on top of that, now, if you stop doing that and you decide I'm not in business anymore, guess what? Now you pay taxes. And so the average person is saving between $400 and $700 a month in taxes by having a home-based business. So Chip, here's the thing, buddy. I'm going to get back in my car and I'm going to write off 58 cents a mile when I get all the way back to my house. When I get home, I'm going to write off a portion of my home. I'm going to depreciate my house. I'm going to write that off. I'm going to write off my repairs and maintenance, my utilities, my property taxes, my insurance. I'm going to write off a portion of all of that. And guess what, Chip? I'm going to write off my swimming pool because I have employees who work for me, including my children are my employees. And because I allow them to swim in my swimming pool, that swimming pool that I bought last year, instead of paying so much money in taxes, that becomes a tax deductible fringe benefit. So I can offer them a swimming pool. I have an athletic facility that we have in our office that we can offer to our employees, 100% tax deductible. And see, at the end of the day, I'm gonna write off my cell phone because I called you on it. I'm gonna write off my internet because I needed it to run my business. I'm gonna write off my laptop and my laptop case because I needed that to run my business as well. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna be able to write off things that you don't get to write off. See, here's what happens. Cell phone, internet, now travel. And see, the greatest part about it is that I have hired my kids to work for me. And because of that, I can take them with me to network marketing events. And honestly, I took my son with me. That was when I first met Chip, to Beyond Leadership. I was speaking at Beyond Leadership. And my son, who was 14 at the time, he got up and walked out in front of 175 seven-figure income earners and 6- and 7-figure income earners. And he sat down in front of Eric Worre and said, which is the guy for network marketing, and said, what would it take for me to be like my mom? I want to be a speaker like my mom. Didn't even bat an eye. He just sat down and that's what he said. And see, the thing is, I get to take my children with me to all of the events that I go to. So what I do is I will take them a couple days on the front end or a couple days on the back end, and I'll spend time with them one-on-one. And my son, Wells, he is like my personal assistant when we go to events. And then I have my daughter who's here with me. She's going to school to be an accountant, and she works with me full time now. She's 17. She doesn't have anything else to do but work now. So she's working with me every single day. And I have my children involved in what I'm doing, but it's also saving me tens of thousands of dollars in taxes. And then I get to spend time with them, and I get them to take them and be around the personal growth and development that is so crucial for them, especially this day and age. So on top of that, I hired my kids. Office supplies, I already talked about that. Legal and professional. I tend to forget to tell people that I'm tax deductible, tax strategy, paying to have your taxes done. When you are in business, now all of those things are tax deduction. If you have to have software to run your business, that's tax deductible. So none of these, I can tell you, we're going to spend money on this stuff anyway, guys, everything in the middle. So they're not additional costs to have a business. So the only extra expenses that you would add into that would be like things like advertising, maybe. We don't spend any money on advertising. It could be continuing education, which I can tell you from experience that continuing education changed my whole entire life. I mean, I went from sitting in a room June of 2017 with 10,000 people, spent $50 to go to a Tony Robbins event. And I went from $7,500 a month that month to now, I think we're at $270,000 roughly a month. And because I got out of my own way, I was able to get through and change my mindset, which was what was holding me back. See, the longest time I thought it was the business. I thought it was everybody else but me. Why is my business not growing the way I want it to? And it was me. I was self-sabotaging myself. I had massive limiting beliefs, and I was undervaluing myself. And when I got through that, when I got around the right people, I was able to become a platinum partner with Tony Robbins last year and spend every other, literally I was with Tony for a week, and then I would be home for 3 weeks. And then I was with him for another week. And it was an amazing experience for me. And it changed my whole entire life. It changed the course of my entire history and my family's legacy. And so everything changed. That continuing education is crucial. And I would spend as much money on growing your mindset than I would on my vehicle. I mean, I probably, if you combine both of my vehicles, I didn't spend that much. So Anyway, dues and subscriptions, monthly dues that you have to pay for your business. You know, it could be Constant Contact. You know, my friend Tom Chenault, amazing management system, customer relationship management system. And then you also have cost of goods sold. So cost of goods sold are things that you have to spend money in order to sell, right? You buy product and then you resell those products. It could be samples. It could be products that you have to take in order to tell people about them. See, I don't know how in the world you can sell a product and not take it and tell someone about it. Or the same thing goes with service. You know, if you're not trying the service and you're not using the service, then how in the world are you going to get someone to believe that they should buy the service and be a part of it? So, you know, added up, all of these expenses are around $35,000. And I don't even want to use that number because for most people, it blows their mind and they don't believe that they could literally have that much in expenses, but you can. And I mean, I see every day people have more than that. So I want to just use 25,000 as a marker. So if we take the same income, we take the $25,000 in business expenses. This is you attempting to earn income and never making a dollar. This is this scenario. And I'll show you what it looks like when you make money in just a second. But we take the business expenses, you have the standard deduction. This gets you to your taxable income. Now you have taxes that you have, your take home, your cost of living, and here's what's left over. And now you're in the positive. So now you're actually making money, around $5,600 a year. If you're single, married, you're, you know, making the difference is $4,500 a year. Well, guys, listen, that would be the equivalent of you having to make an additional $3.79 an hour for every hour that you work, 2,000 hours a year. And there are not any businesses right now giving out any raises that I know of, unless you want to work at Costco and be around all the people. So the married is almost $3 an hour, a little over $3 an hour that you would need to make in order to be equivalent to the tax savings of having a home-based business. So what does it look like to attempt to earn an income? I'm not talking about spending full time. I'm talking about doing something part-time, 3 to 5 hours, 3 to 5 days a week, 45 minutes at a time. You can actually, that's attempting to earn an income in the IRS world. So huge, huge deal, guys. Now, here's what happens when you start making money. Let's just say you made an additional $500 a month. And guys, I want you to understand how big of a deal it is right now. In 2008, 75% of households would not have lost their home and gone into foreclosure had they had an additional $300 a month. And I just showed you how you could free up $400 a month minimum and not make a dollar by joining a home-based business and attempting to earn an income. Now let's say we're making money. We start sharing this with people. People decide they want to join our team. We get better at sales. We go to continuing education events, whatever, making an extra $500 a month. Now, here's the income. You've got the business expenses. You've got the standard deduction, your taxes, your take home, your cost of living, and the difference is $10,500. The difference of you just being a W-2 employee and now you're making an additional $500 in the home-based business industry. You would have to make an additional $7 an hour to be equivalent to that. Guys, it's crazy. And when I finally put 2 and 2 together, it made total sense to me. And I think now is the best time to be sharing this with people. I had someone come to my office last year. It was a husband and wife. The husband made $85,000 a year. The wife made $55,000 a year. And they were so excited that they had gotten a total of a $35,000 increase in pay. And they want to know how much money it was going to cost them extra in taxes because they knew it was going to put them in a higher tax bracket. So I had to break it down to them that the additional $35,000 a year in pay increase only was going to bring them home $13,000. It was going to cost them $22,000 in taxes to make 35 grand. That makes no sense. And then, so while they were there, I said, you know what if one of you stayed at home? And I said, you know, look at the 85,000, let's keep that one and let's get rid of the $55,000 a year. Because so many people say that they don't have the time and the effort to get started because they can't replace their income fast enough. So here's what happened. I took away the $55,000 a year. We determined that she was only netting $1,800 a month, which is $21,000 a year off that $55,000. And the reason why is because it was putting both of them in a higher tax bracket. And so they were both bringing home less money. And so I told them, I said, you would be better off making $1,000 a month, doing something from home, you know, spending time at home and doing that, and now having access to massive tax deductions, $15,000, $20,000 a year in tax deductions on things you're already spending money on anyway. That would offset, you would pay nothing on your $10,000. Because if you understand it, it's not a $10,000 loss or a $20,000 loss. It's a loss on paper. Okay. So I take 10,000, I make 10,000. I don't have to pay taxes on it because I'm losing money on paper. And then I get to offset the rest of that loss against my husband's income. And now I'm better off. Both of us are better off. So she can make $1,000 a month and be equivalent to her $55,000 a year paycheck. But it gets even better because, see, the thing is that people go out every single day and they don't even think about it. And they're like, let me stop by Starbucks and spend $7 on Starbucks. Let me stop and go get some lunch because I want to, you know, treat myself to some lunch. And then they're too tired when they come home. So it's like, you know, let's get takeout instead of, you know, eating in. And then they have daycare. And guys, when you realize, when you add all this stuff up and then you add taxes onto it, and then 401k, which that's a different conversation that we'd have later, but you know, that was created to steal your money as well. When you add all these things up, there's not a whole lot left over. So at the end of the day, you could be at home with your family. You could have a better life. You could have more time and energy, and you could spend time with your family doing the things that you love and care about and helping other people do the exact same thing. So that's why I'm excited about sharing this with you tonight, and I'm going to just keep going. So I want to tell you a couple other things. Social giving. I will tell you that this is the single most important thing for me on top of continuing education is giving back. So I decided April 16th of 2018 to combine my passion and my profits. And I know this slide is not updated, so I'll share with you the numbers in just a second, but I truly believe if we help enough people get exactly what they want, we'll automatically get what we want without a shadow of a doubt. And so what we decided to do is that we started giving from a gross income level. And if you do that, just like Tom Shoes, like Warby Parker, they do a buy one, give one. We do the exact same thing, but we do it with our accounting firm. So for every dollar that comes in our accounting firm, we feed a serving of whole food, plant-based nutrition to a nonprofit called Manna Relief. And that has changed my life. We now actually added on top of that, we, for every $25,000 that comes in our accounting practice, we free a child through Operation Underground Railroad. And just yesterday, I connected both of those companies, and we are going to be feeding all of the children through Operation Underground Railroad that have been freed from sexual exploitation, which is probably one of the greatest things that I've ever done. So I'm super excited about that. But what I want you to understand is that we give from a gross income level instead of a net income level. And why this is so important is because the way that we give becomes 100% tax deductible. And so that because it's tax deductible, we have more money that we can now give more money. And so when the average 96% of Americans don't have the ability to take advantage of itemized deductions, nonprofits are going to see some drastic issues and not get the funding that they need. So we have been able to, and this number has changed as of February 10th. As of yesterday, we have been feeding we fed 1.762 million servings of food to children in need all over the world. And we work directly here with medically fragile children in the States, and we will, anybody who has any child who's medically fragile, please reach out to me so I can get the product sent to you and the food and nutrition sent to you. It doesn't matter. I just need name and address and the medical condition. So we're up to 7,800 servings a day now. So super excited about that. Now, The next thing I want to talk to you about is how to keep more of your money. And one of the ways to do that, and I don't have this slide up, but is to hire your kids. So hiring your kids is a big deal. And let me tell you why. So your kids are expensive, and you're going to give them money anyway. So instead of giving them money, you would hire them, have them work for you, do things like personal assistant work, go with you to events. They can help you on social media. They can help you, like mine does bookkeeping for me. So, or actually she's preparing tax returns now. They can work for you. If they're under the age of 18, they have no taxes at all whatsoever coming out. No FICA taxes, no federal taxes, no state taxes, no unemployment taxes, and you can pay them $12,000 a year. They don't have to pay taxes on the first $12,000. You don't have to pay taxes on it because it's a business expense. If they're over the age of 18, you would just take out FICA taxes on them. So that's a huge advantage, guys. I take my children, $12,000 per child times 6 children, that is $72,000 a year in a tax deduction. That saves almost $28,000 in taxes on money I was going to give them anyway. So they pay for the thing, I pay them, and they pay for the stuff. So you can have your name on the account and their name on it as well. It doesn't matter what happens to the money after it goes to their account. It just matters that you are giving them that money and you are tracking how you're paying, what you're paying them for. And if you would pay someone else to do the work, you can pay them to do the work. So here's what happens now. Next, how do you keep more of your hard-earned money as you start making money? One of the biggest things, I have a conversation with business owners every single day, and I do something called tax strategy sessions about 14 times a day, every day when I'm in my office. And so one of the things that I look at is what happened in the past, what's happening right now, what should you be doing right now, and what should you be doing in the future. So I'm not just looking at, what should you do moving forward? It's how can we fix it going backwards? So one of the biggest things that I want you to understand is that once you get started and you start making a substantial amount of money, and what I mean by substantial is $1,000 a month in gross income. That is what you are making. I don't care if it's home-based business. I don't care if it's brick and mortar business. Once you start making $1,000 a month, you should have an LLC. What does an LLC do? It limits your liability, but it does something very crucial on top of that. The LLC allows you to treat your business either as a sole proprietorship, or it allows you to treat your business as an S corporation for tax purposes. So what does that mean? A sole proprietorship would be a tax return. You would just file a schedule on your personal tax return. But here's the problem. When you're a partnership, a sole proprietorship, or an LLC, you get taxed at a much higher rate. So if I take, for example, a $60,000 net income, so say I'm making money, I deduct all of my expenses, and I'm left over with $60,000 in net income. See, the great thing about it, I want you to understand, is that let's just say I made $100,000 and I had $40,000 worth of expenses, and that got me to 60. If you're a W-2 employee, you pay taxes on $100,000. If you're a business owner, an LLC, a sole proprietorship, or a partnership, you pay taxes on $60,000. Okay, big difference. But wait, there's more, because on that $60,000, you get something called a 20% pass-through entity deduction. So on the $60,000, you don't have to pay taxes on $12,000 of it. Okay, so now that gets you down to $48,000. So that's your taxable income instead of $100,000. Big difference. But it gets better. So if you have an LLC and you start making more than $1,000 a month in net income, then you want to treat your LLC as an S corporation for tax purposes. And what that means is it allows you to bypass 80% of your self-employment taxes. So you'd write yourself a paycheck. People get so confused. So, I'll break it down for you if you need to, and I've got videos and all this content on it. But you would literally pay yourself a paycheck of 20% of the $60,000, which is $12,000. And then the other $48,000 would flow to your personal tax return without you having to pay self-employment taxes. Self-employment taxes are 15.3% of every dollar you make in net income from a business, okay? So if you're making $60,000, 15.3% of that If you're just an LLC, a partnership, or sole proprietorship, you would pay $9,000 in self-employment taxes, and then you pay federal and state. If you were, however, an LLC treated as an S corporation, what does that look like? It's just some paperwork, and it's a separate tax return that's filed. And that paperwork is, we charge $250. It's nothing, one time. So that S corp allows you to bypass $7,000 in self-employment taxes. Huge deal. So you pay $1,800 in self-employment taxes as opposed to $9,000 in self-employment taxes. Which one would you rather have, right? So and there are so many other things, guys. There are things like home administrative offices when you have an actual brick and mortar location. There are, that I talked about travel substantially, going more continuing education. There are things like conservation easements. Like, there are so many ways for you to save money in taxes that I'm not going to go into detail on this tonight. But I just want you to understand, in closing, is that there's never been a better time to have a home-based business. And the reason why is because the tax laws are in your favor. And you get the same advantages as any other big giant business. See, Amazon last year paid $0 in taxes on $11.2 billion. Walmart pays on average a 0.12% in taxes, whereas the average American household will pay 40%. Why? Because the average American household is only taking care of themselves. Amazon is taking care of, 600,000 employees? Walmart's taking care of hundreds of thousands of employees. So it really goes back to the more people you help, the more you get back. So there's never been a better time. You have the same tax advantages as all the other big boys, Microsoft, Apple, you name it. And the next thing I want to share with you is that you should take the deductions that you're entitled to. Don't let anyone tell you that because you take certain deductions that you're going to get audited. That's not true. You can go and read Sandy Botkin. Sandy Botkin wrote a book called Lower Your Taxes Big Time. IRS attorney. He worked for the IRS. He trained attorneys for 5 years at the IRS. He's a CPA. He has a software called TaxBot that we actually use through our membership with us today. And Sandy literally changed my whole world about this. Your deductions have nothing to do with you being audited. What has to do with you being audited is a dramatic increase in your gross income or a dramatic decrease in gross income. And the IRS just put out a study 6 weeks ago and said, maybe 8 weeks ago, and said that unless you make more than $500,000 a year, or unless you're in poverty level, you don't have a real issue of being audited. Audits have decreased in half because it's very hard for them to find auditors nowadays. And I'll tell you what, I just spoke to an auditor on Monday, and they have shut down all cases. They're not even auditing right now. They have shut down the IRS buildings. They only have essential employees. So, crazy. So I'm just telling you, take the deductions you're entitled to. Hire your family, hire your spouse for things like medical bills, fringe benefits that you have access to. Another huge deduction for children is you can actually pay for your children's college through an education program through fringe benefits. So huge, huge deal there. And then hire an accountant. Don't do your own tax return. I've had 3 people come to me in the last 2 or 3 weeks that are now being audited because they did TurboTax and they checked a box incorrectly. And the box was irrelevant, but now they're being audited for all of their business deductions, and that would never have happened. So the thing is that you're stuck. You have no one who's going to help you in that audit. And then on top of that, if you have an accountant who's telling you that you can't take advantage of these tax deductions, they're wrong. I can show you the tax code all day long, but at the end of the day, go to someone who understands this industry and who can help you and who's going to be there for you if you get audited. One of the things we added this year for our clients is audit protection. Every single tax return, we added audit protection. Not because we're concerned about you getting audited, it's because you're concerned about you getting audited, and it's a way to ease your mind. So the next thing is tracking expenses. one of the only reasons the IRS wins on deductions and disallowing expenses if you do get audited is because 88% of them are one, because you have no receipts. You have no expenses written down. You're not keeping track of it. So the IRS knows that if you are treating your business like a business, like if you have an LLC treated as an S corporation, you're much less likely to be audited. And if you do get audited, an auditor can't even look at that. It actually has to go up to a revenue officer. So I just had that case this week. We had a client on Monday, and the client is being audited for prior years. She's our client. We're helping her with the audit, and she's being audited because she filed married filing separately. And now they wanted to know about her business expenses, and they're all on an S corporation. And he said, you know what? I can't even look at that. I'm sorry. I can't even look at that. I should have looked sooner. And I have to send this to a revenue officer if they even want to open up the audit. So it's a huge deal. The more you treat your business like a business, the less likely you have an issue if you're to ever get audited. Keeping track of your expenses, keeping track of your mileage is a huge deal. We have a membership that can help you out. Chip can give you contact information. Guys, I mean, this is not, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not here to tell you why you need to hire us an accountant. I just want to share with you why this is for everyone. So, you know, you can completely impact every person's life that you know, because everybody needs to free up money. And so you have the advantages that most people don't know. So here's my information. And I am actually going to give you another link that is a $99 tax strategy session. If you guys want to book and speak to me, there's no obligation. You know, if you need help, I will be happy to help you, me and my staff. But you can text actually this number at the bottom. That's going to give you a link to not only a free copy of my book, a downloadable copy. You can get the book for half price right now on that same link. And then you can also, and you can feel free to give it to everybody. I am right now, I'm just trying to give away content as much as humanly possible, because I think everybody needs this information. And then if you text that number, it's also going to give you the OTB Tax CARES, CARES, for the new CARES Act. It's going to give you the link so you can book that $99 tax strategy session. So feel free to find me. I have a really good a Facebook group called More Relaxing, Less Taxing, and that is a free group. It is open for anybody and everybody for you to get free content. We do a lot of these same lives every single day. I'm doing one, and we just recently did one last night with I did with Ray Higdon, and we had 83,000 views. So people are looking to find ways to free up money. People are looking to find ways to make extra money. And so, you know, I want to be the first one to tell you that I'm so grateful to be a part of what you guys are doing, kind of on the outside, being able to be a part of it and looking in. And, you know, this is just going to get better and better and better. And I think this just, I'm so excited for what's to come. So I thank you so much, Chip. And, you know, if you have questions or whatever you want me to do, I'm open.
We've got a couple more minutes, Courtney, and that was fabulous information. And, you know, I sit here and a couple of people were texting me. I mean, you would have saved people thousands of dollars, you know, and as I said, you know, I think that, you know, people are counting pennies now, right? And
yes.
These are people that are in the home-based business arena, and people are waiting with bated breath for this $1,200, you know, relief check. And I think it's only $1,200 one time. I mean, you know, we in the home-based business industry, folks, have the capability of showing somebody how they can make $1,000 a month, in reality, $1,000 a month, let alone with all the tax deductions on the backside. Once again, not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep, right, Courtney? But Courtney, what's the biggest thing, the first thing, besides everybody should be getting an LLC, right? That's the number one thing, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, so the biggest thing, and the only state I would tell you that be cautious of, well, there's two, is New Jersey and California. So if you are making $1,000 a month in gross income, you need to be an LLC. Once you are making $1,000 a month in net income, then you need to be an LLC treated as an S corporation. So why I tell people to do the LLC when you start making $1,000 a month, it doesn't really do anything for taxes right away. But what it does is it allows you to go backwards in time and treat your business as an S corporation. So if you start out, January, February, you're making a couple $1,000 a month, you get the LLC, let's say now, let's say you get it in April 1st, and then you blow up in June and start making $4,000 or $5,000 a month, you can actually go backwards to the day that the LLC was in place. Right. And so we are having people that have been told by their prior accountant, you can't treat your business as an LLC or an LLC treated as an S corporation, or it's not beneficial. And we just recently saved a network marketer $110,000 a year that she overpaid in taxes. Yeah. On paying herself, overpaying in payroll taxes for herself, overpaying. She was one of her entities was an LLC, and they listed it as a Schedule C on her personal tax return, and we just ended up amending it and going back and getting all that money back. So, it's crazy to see what people are overpaying in taxes. I mean, we have found, $157,000 is the most that we found in 1 year for someone. It's great.
That's crazy. So, and then the second thing is, besides just setting up and having the right tax structure, the right business structure, regardless if you've made a penny or not yet, right, is if what I'm hearing, right? Regardless if you've made a penny or not, be prepared. As Harvey McKay, who you and I spent some time with Harvey McKay at the last Eric Worre event, would say, dig the well before you need to drink the water. Well, you want to make sure you have all your ducks in a row, folks, with your taxes and everything else. Treat your business like a business. Courtney said that, right? And it'll pay you like a business. You treat it like a hobby, it probably won't even pay you, right? And so treat it like a business, even if you don't make $1,000 a week, $1,000 a month is fine. Like Jim Rohn said, $1,000 a month. Everybody wants to hear your story, and that's more relevant now. I think it's kind of funny. We used to disrespect. I think we got into this point where a lot of network marketers, Courtney, make so much money, and you deal with a lot of them. We see a lot of them through Eric Worre, and you see these people $300,000 a month, $400,000 a month, and they make so much money, and people hear these stories. And they don't realize that it's still $1,000 a month should excite people, because $1,000 a month in the comfort of your own home, as you said, that one gal was barely bringing home $18,000 a year out of whatever, $35,000 income. She was really netting that. So if you're helping somebody make $1,000 a month, folks, how important is that even before everybody's waiting for a $1,200 handout? Okay, just saying, right? So, and then the last thing is I'll tell you personally, hire a professional like Courtney, and it doesn't have to be Courtney. I would hope you would, Courtney, because she's wicked smart. And just some of the things she's talked about here, they really go right by. I'm pretty good with numbers, but in a broad scope of things. The problem with the tax code for most of us, it's like reading Greek translated into Chinese, right? And it's like this thick, right? Isn't it, Courtney? It's just like, it's ridiculous.
17,000 pages.
Yeah, there you go. I can't read a 40-page pamphlet half the time with my ADD. So I'm not going to read an 8,000-page whatever, So hire a professional. So reach out to Courtney, and you're probably slammed this year, but we do have a little bit of an extension this year, don't we?
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. It's like, we do so many amended tax returns. And so I look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, if it gets extended, then that's people I don't have to go back and amend tax returns for. And, guys, all day long, I'm finding every 30 minutes, I find between $5,000 and $50,000 that people are overpaying legitimately. And the thing is they just, they don't understand. They don't understand this industry. So they go to an accountant, and the accountant says, oh, well, you haven't made enough money. You can't write that off. Oh, well, you haven't made enough money, or, you've claimed losses more than 3 years. You can't claim that anymore. That's a lie. I can tell you right now, it took Amazon claimed losses for 20 years. 20 years. I mean, they were working their butts off trying to make it every single day. I have a big sign in my office, and that sign is, I want you to see this, because I think it's so super crucial. for people to understand. But look right here, where it all started. Big things have small beginnings. So the most valuable tech company, the largest online store, and the most famous search engine. So Google, Amazon, and Apple all started in a garage.
Right.
In a garage. I mean, like, it's crazy. It's, you know, the greatest thing on earth, but just so many people just don't get it. So anyway.
Right. Well, we appreciate that. And then we have one question. S corp, and it's probably too detailed. S corp versus LLC. I mean, I know there's a lot of confusion. There's some double taxation with an S corp, but does that vary by state to state, or?
Nope, it's not a double taxation. So a C corporation is double taxed.
Oh, okay.
So the only reason why I tell people to get the LLC and to then treat that LLC as an S corporation is because it's cheaper, and it doesn't require you to hire an attorney, and it doesn't cost $2,000 to set up an S corporation. So for $250 plus a filing fee, maybe sometimes even cheaper, or you can do it yourself. You can get the LLC. When you need the S corp election, you can call us. We'll file it. It's $250. We file the 4 pages worth of paperwork to the IRS. You know, what I see is that people they may jump the gun and go get an S corporation too early. And what's the point? There's no reason for you to pay extra money for a corporate tax return when you don't need it. And the benefits are that when you do need it, it's already in place. And if you need to go backwards and treat it as an S corporation later, like we're going right now, I've got one, she overpaid $22,000 in 17, and we're going back and we're taking her Schedule C, and she was an LLC, and we're going and doing a corporate tax return, an S corp return, and we're getting that money back, and we're just amending her personal and filing the corporate tax return. So you have better options.
How far can you look back for most people?
You can go back 3 years from the date of filing, or 2 years from the date of paid off. So if you owed money for 2013 or 2012 or 2010, you could go backwards and actually amend that tax return and show the expenses that you should have been taking. And then, and you have 3 years. So right now, you know, we still have access. We've got about 10 days to do 2016 and then moving forward.
What are the, lastly, what do you think, what is the average person going to spend if, you know, on a tax return here? A bit, you know, person setting up a corporate S corporation, LLC, you said a couple $100, $250, and then what do you see as an average bill? And I know if we get into detailed stuff that it's hourly and stuff like that.
Nope, we don't charge hourly. The one thing I don't like to do is argue over money or time. So we charge $600 for a personal tax return with a business, and that is across the board. That is everybody. It doesn't matter if you have 3, it doesn't matter if you have 1, we charge $600. If we end up doing a corporate tax return for you and a personal, that's why we always say, once you hit the threshold of $1,000 a month in net income, the amount of money you would have to pay in extra expenses, like to have an extra tax return done, to file payroll taxes, because we have to do all that, it becomes equivalent to the amount of taxes that you would pay. And taxes are not tax deductible, whereas legal and professional is. So that's the even point. Once you pass that, it becomes more beneficial. So we charge $1,500 for a corporate return. We charge $350 for a personal. So it costs about $1,200 more a year for the filings, for the tax return filings. And then if you had us do the payroll, we just actually outsource that. It's about $600 a year. So you have to do the payroll in order to have an S corporation, because you have to pay yourself 20% of your net income in a paycheck.
So under $2,000, people are pretty much probably good to go all in for pretty sophisticated work. Folks, we got to wrap it up here. I've kept Courtney long enough, kept you guys long enough. This will be a great tool for you to talk to people, to have, you know, pitch them your business, whatever it is, talk to them, you know, be in the industry of helping people, like Courtney says, you know, and it's just helping people. What we want is a relationship industry, right? We want to create a relationship and bring education and value to other people and talk to them that they need a home-based business more now than ever, right? I mean, it's literally being forced down upon us, right? And to think things are going to change immediately back to the way they were, naive. I think I might use a harsher word if I knew you better, but I'm just going to say it's naive. Okay, going forward, which we have to do, things are going to be incredibly different. Not bad, but just different, right? But so keep track of your expenses. I would contact Courtney. Get yourself an LLC set up this year, maybe get your last couple years taxes so she could take a look at them and get you some money back, help you pay for this all going forward. Courtney, I want to thank you once again. Get her book, folks, and reach out to her Facebook website. Again, it's called Less Taxes. What is it?
More Relaxing, Less Taxing. And I'm going to put the,
Less taxes. And I sent you all her website.
Yeah, I'm going to put the bit.ly in as well on here, or maybe you could, I'll send it to you, Chip, so you can add it so they can get it for free. So, I mean, just share that with as many people as you want to share.
You guys can reach out and grab me, and then I'll send you Courtney's information. Courtney, we love you. Everybody loves you. I know that I've been getting bombarded here.
Thank you.
You know, and we appreciate everything you did tonight, and tell your husband and your family that we appreciate you sharing you with us. And I look forward to seeing Wells when I look forward to seeing you again and when we get a little bit back to normal. He's such an incredible little guy.
Thank you so much, guys. Y'all have an amazing night.
Folks, thanks a lot, everyone. Be safe, be well, stay inside, okay? Love you guys. Talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.